Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders at Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutation to the elect of the nation of Israel. To you I say Shalom. So, this article came out back in 2020 from CNN.com. This article came out like 5 years and some change ago. You know, and I'm going to read it. It says, Black newborns more likely to die when looked after by white doctors. You got to ask yourself, why is that? You got to ask yourself, how come? You know? Which, you Israelites consist of you so-called Negroes, you so-called Latinos, you so-called Native Americans. All right? We are the Israelites, and we've been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And the so-called white men, they're Esau, Edom. They're the Edomites. So we're the Israelites, and they are the Edomites. But keep in mind, the Israelites been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, so this is not a black thing. All right? But the so-called black man, the so-called Latino man, the so-called Native American man, we are the Israelites. It says in the United States, racial disparities in human health can impact even the first hours of a person's life, according to new research. Black newborn babies in the United States are more likely to survive childbirth if they are cared for by black doctors. And the term black is a play on words, you know. Nobody's not black. Nobody's not white. That's why it should say Israelite newborn babies. And it shouldn't say white babies. It should say Edomite babies. Okay. So that black and white, that right there, that's a lie. All right? Because nobody's black, nobody's white. But 3 times more likely than white babies to die when looked after by white doctors. A study has found. Once again, you have to ask yourself why. The mortality rate of black newborns in hospitals shrunk by between 39% and 58% when black physicians took charge of the birth. According to the research, which laid bare how shocking racial disparities in human health can affect even the first hours of a person's life. Disparities. So I was saying it wrong, pronouncing it wrong the whole time. Disparities are significant, often unjust, and measurable differences, inequalities, or imbalances between population groups regarding social, economic, or health outcomes. Common synonyms include inequity, imbalance, discrepancy, inequality. They are typically used to describe systematic unfair gaps such as income, education, or health care access as cited in. So it says according to the research which laid bare how shocking racial disparities in human health can affect even the first hours of a person's life. By contrast, the mortality rate for white babies was was largely unaffected by the doctor's race. So that show you right there that stay away from these hospitals, unless you need like surgery. But for the most part, stay away from these hospitals. Stay away from Edomite doctors as well. Okay, stay away from the hospitals in general. Of course, use your discretion, use your discernment. But we need to be our own physician. The findings support previous research which has shown that while infant mortality rates have fallen in recent decades, black children remain significantly more likely to die early than their white counterparts. Why is that? That's because these different nations, starting with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, they hate the Israelites. They hate the Israelite male. They hate the Israelite female. They hate Israelites in general. That's why. Just to sum it all up, we're God's chosen people, and the so-called white man who was Esau, Edom, Esau hates Jacob with a perpetual hatred. Just to sum it all up. Okay. Researchers from George Mason University analyzed data capturing 1.8 million hospital births in Florida between 1992 and 2015 for the new study, which was published Monday in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences of the United States of America, also known as PNAS. When cared for by white physicians, black newborns were about 3 times more likely to die in a hospital than white newborns. The researchers found that disparity dropped significantly when the doctor was black, although black newborns nonetheless remain more likely than white newborns to die. Our study provides the first evidence that the black-white newborn mortality gap is smaller when black MDs provide care for black newborns than when white MDs do, lending support to research examining the importance of racial concordance in addressing health care inequities. Co-author Rachel Hardman said on Twitter, "Black babies have been dying at disproportionate rates since as long as we've collected data." So this has been going on. This is nothing new. The time is now to change this and to ensure that black infants are afforded the opportunity to thrive. They don't want us to thrive. You see that? They don't want us to live. Who is they? These different nations starting with Esau, Edom. It's already known that black infants have 2.3 times the infant mortality rate as white infants, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health. It's a little bit more to the article, but the point is there. First scripture I want to get is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Esau, Edom is our top enemy. These different nations are our enemy. You Israelites out there, we have enemies out here. And it's these different nations. Okay, that's why we're hated by all of them. You don't supposed to trust your enemy. And you have a lot of our people trusting the so-called white man to this very day. Okay, you don't supposed to trust these doctors. You don't supposed to trust nobody. You supposed to trust Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, the God of Jacob, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the Hebrews, the God of the Israelites. You're supposed to put confidence in Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai and not man. They're trying to stop the seed line from the man. This is part of their war tactic. This is part of them, this is to remain in the power seat. They in their mind they want to cut off the men, the seed line from the man. It's Matthew 2, verse 13. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. The young child speaking on Yahweh Shai. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth to slew all the children that were in Bethlehem. Slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So throughout time, you always had people being merciless to children. You know, that's been going on from the very beginning. You have people and offering their children up to even idols as well, offering their children to Molech. This is Exodus chapter 1, verse 21, verse 20. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. So he even had Pharaoh saving the daughter alive, but casting the son into the river, the man child, the male child. And they doing the same thing to this very day by experimenting on Jake. Okay, which Esau experimented on men and women of our nation. Okay. But that's their point. They trying to take the man from the house, divide and conquer, you know. So with that, all praises to Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rachakodash. Shalom.